Molly, I'm so excited to be here, especially to talk about this next story, because it's something that's pervasive in the lives of everybody who lives with blindness or low vision, and that's employment.
The employment rate for those of us living with vision loss is just 37%, which is a staggeringly low number.
And in a recent study, 7 out of 10 employers said that if they were given the choice between two equally qualified candidates, they would hire the person with full vision.
Which is obviously unacceptable. And that's why the CNIB launched their EmployAbility campaign late last year. Its aim is to battle misconceptions about low vision in the workplace.
I recently traveled to Winnipeg to meet with Gary Nenson, Executive Director of the Manitoba Division of the CNIB, to learn more about the campaign and its bigger goals.
Hi Denise, it's Gary.
Hi Gary, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Awesome.
Good, how'd your job interview go today? What we wanted to do, I think, is remove some of those misconceptions and some of those stigmas. We wanted to ensure that people are aware that an individual who is blind or partially sighted can be as effective in a role as a person who is sighted.
Caption: people with vision loss face challenges at work.
This source code won't work.
Here, let me take a look. Just add a closure on line 4. That should work.
The public service announcements started broadcasting last fall and center around this key message.
Caption: misconceptions are the hardest to overcome. Learn more about hiring people with vision loss.
We really need to start to impress on people that a 37% employability rate for people who are blind or partially sighted is just not something that should be acceptable.
The other aspect of the campaign is to put forward successful members of the visually impaired community as role models. I had a chance to meet with Scott Best, a writer and editor working for the Manitoba government.
It's such an important message. You know, I've been lucky that I've been given the chance to show what I can do. And I know there are a lot of people who haven't been given that chance, who are blind or partially sighted.
Scott is just a wonderful example of what people who are blind or partially sighted can achieve if they put their minds to it. We also wanted to ensure that people understood that there's very little accommodation that needs to go with an individual who is blind or partially sighted coming into your employ versus that an accommodation that a person who is sighted may need.
That especially rings true for Scott's workplace.
There was really only one accommodation that I needed, and that was JAWS, which is a piece of screen reading software. It enables me to read by listening most anything that a sighted person would access.
Short-term problems with low energy.
Scott admits that his success involved some luck. He wants to share an important message for those who may be struggling.
There are people out there who are allies for us. And if you can find those people, just try and nurture those connections as much as you can. We all have skills, we all have abilities. If you can try to harness those skills and abilities and try to find something that will work well with your skills and abilities, I think there's hope for you.
Okay, Scott, we're going to the boardroom. Let's discuss about the Manitoba Government Accessibility Plan.
Sure.
Okay.
Scott found an ally in his employer. I had a chance to meet with Sam Grande, Manager of Diversity and Inclusion at the province of Manitoba, about being a part of this campaign.
I think we play a very important leadership role in sharing with any employer in Manitoba that, you know, these individuals adds so much value to your organization.
The government of Manitoba has just launched a new accessibility plan. Sam explains that Scott provides a critical perspective on how that plan can work.
Scott, being a writer, provided that lens, checking our document that it is accessible, making sure that, you know, all the pieces that we need to be concerned about when we are communicating with the public in an accessible way. He gave that valuable input.
Though the employability campaign is new, the CNIB in Manitoba has a long track record of working on this issue.
We have a very vibrant and robust program that we offer within Manitoba whereby we work with individuals, we provide the necessary resources to them, we ensure that they have the necessary living skills, mobility, social skills that are necessary in order to get into the workforce. And we also partner with a lot of external organizations that put us in touch with employers.
And Scott is happy to do his part to help.
It's obviously a message that people need to hear, so I just feel really privileged that I'm able to talk about that because it's so important, and I hope that it actually does make some kind of an impact.
Scott was on point there. Employers should be looking to hire people who are innovative and enthusiastic and who can offer a unique perspective regardless of a disability.
Yes, absolutely. And something we didn't quite get into in the story was the idea of not just introducing people with blindness or low vision to the workforce, but putting them in management or executive positions.
That's right, and that's actually seen in one of the PSAs. There's a blind man conducting the interviews and making the hiring decisions. It's subtle, but it's a really positive portrayal of what we can all offer in the workforce.
There isn't much data or research on this, but in my personal experience, a glass ceiling does exist in the workforce for people with disabilities. There are opportunities at the entry-level positions, but not necessarily room for growth. Molly, you're self-employed, but you get to interact with all kinds of people from different communities. Do they ever share their stories, their successes, or failures when it comes to being in the workforce?
For sure, I hear both sides of the story, the good and the bad. Unfortunately, I would say I probably hear more negative experiences when it comes to disability and finding work. And interestingly enough, I would find the most positive experiences that I've heard come from other people who are self-employed as well.